so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're joining me from. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Accept my greeting according to your time zone. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I upload a video. You can be among the first to receive it. Then go to the comment section at all times. Leave your comment, drop your contribution. If you have suggestions, make it out there. If you have any criticism, put it down on the comment section. It will make us to get better, presenting you a better program. Thank you so much. Stop pretending and deceiving yourself. They will tell you, hey, we'll be together, we do it together, we have to do. But at the end of the day, that togetherness is just in the amount. They don't want it. Everybody wants to return back home where they belong. So we have to narrow it down. At least cut it into an angle that can be able to be managed. Let the southeast go to their separate ways, the old southeastern region. Let the Ududua people go and let the other ones go. Begin to establish that which they feel that will work for them. It is not a wicked request. It is not a request made out of wickedness, made out of jealousy and envy. No. It is a request made out of concern for the life of other people. Because we are concerned about human life. We want everybody to survive and be responsible. We want everybody to enjoy peace. We want everybody to enjoy greatness. We want everybody to attain to that very height that will propel us to glory. We want people to be free to practice whatever religion they feel like practicing without being threatened. We want people to have that space to pursue any career they desire to pursue without being hindered. We want a situation where people can be able to venture into business peacefully without being attacked or their property destroyed. We want a nation where people can exist freely, work freely, know that they are in their own nation, a place where people can be patriotic to. That is what we want. As it stands today, nobody is patriotic to Nigeria. Not the Ududua people, nor the Arewa people, not the Biafrans. Nobody is ready to put his life down for this so-called contraption. That is why you see every man is fighting for his own. All of a sudden today, I just read a tweet that Fenika Yode made. Fenika Yode all of a sudden remember that the Vice President of Peter Obi is a Mauritanian. Just call him a Mauritanian and you'll be sent back to Mauritania. If it were to be a Biafran that said that word, you know what is coming. If it were to be a Biafran that made that comment that Fanika Ode made, you know what is going to come. You know what they're going to call it. But of course, because it is Fanika Ode, today they are in power. Nobody's going to say anything. He has the right to abuse anybody, insult anybody, say anything he wants to say. Up to the extent of bringing his dirty mouth to our beloved sister, Chimamanda Adichie. Chimamanda came out and spoke her mind, talking to the United States government on their evil act, the way they support evil in the country called Nigeria. She made her own case, and her case was very clear and genuine, with a pure heart. She wasn't saying that just because she's an Igbo woman. She was saying it because it's the right thing to say. But what did Fanika Ode do? Fanika Ode came and began to assassinate her character and call her names. And it is right for them. Nobody will say anything. After all, she's an Igbo woman. As long as you are Igbo, you are a cheap target. As long as you're an Igbo person, anybody, anywhere, any clown, anywhere can come out and throw a stone at you and nothing will happen. That is how bad it is. But those of us who are Biafrans, mainly the Igbo Biafrans, you have to wake up. You have to wake up. Wake up and stand up to the challenge. The time is now, not tomorrow. The time is now, not tomorrow. Nobody is going to be there for you. It's just like what our sister Chimamanda said. These are the same people who are telling you about democracy. They preach democracy. They come to your country to dictate to you what to do that is right and what is wrong. They come and they will preach against fraud. that they don't support fraud. But I tell you, every Western country supports fraud in Nigeria. Take it to the bank. Every Western country, except for Finland. Except Finland, every other Western country that I know of, the major ones, the British, the Americans, the Canadians, the Italians, the French, they all support the fraud that is happening in Nigeria, and they are the one promoting it. Is it Switzerland? And we have the guts to come and tell you that the contraction is corrupt. Nothing is working. The leaders are not doing the right thing. But meanwhile, they support those leaders that are not doing right. They are the ones that they prefer. They are their own preferred candidates. The preferred candidate of the West are those corrupt leaders. If not, how can you be congratulating somebody who have rigged into a post? In an election that was rigged, very open, even a child knew that election was rigged. Even a child knew that. You couldn't even wait. You couldn't even wait for the case to be resolved in court. You couldn't even wait at least to get the final judgment there, because we know that the court will definitely allow him to continue. At least wait, let the court speak. You did not. You went ahead to congratulate an evil entity. What example are you showing? What you are telling us is that you support every fraudulent act that is happening in Nigeria. But when it happens in the United States, you begin to complain. When you catch a scammer in the United States or a fraudster in the United States, you begin to complain that Nigerians are corrupt. They are involved in scam. They are involved in fraud. But meanwhile, you are the supporter and promoter of fraud in that same country called Nigeria. The United States, the British, they are the one that is supporting every fraudulent leader. Every fraudulent leader, they support it. Anything that is fraudulent, they support it. They are the one that have created this very safe zone for all the fraud that is happening in Nigeria. That is why they can be able to congratulate a fraudster, a drug baron, when he was being rigged into power. Even when they know that he was rigged into power, they congratulate him. You see why, Biafrans, you must not wait for anybody to rescue you. That is why today you see our spokesperson, Mazi, doing what he's doing. That is why he is focused on what he's doing, pursuing that which is right, making sure that he frees his people. Everything we are doing today is about our freedom. Mazi is fighting tirelessly to free his own people. And I thank Chukwu Okikabema for a country like Finland, where Chukwu Okikabema sent him to prepare him for this mission. When you look at the story of Mazi and how he came up to this level, you will know that he was prepared for this mission. In this history of Biafra and the struggle, this is only one man who has a direct relationship with President of Nations, who has a direct relationship and closeness with President of a nation. At least who has that contact to reach out to a president without organizing an official, without making it official. Biafrans, we are supposed to tap into that. And we are supposed to glorify Chukwu Okikabema on his behalf. But some people cannot see beyond their nose. They are still busy castigating him, distracting him. But I thank Chukwu Okikabema that Mazi is not someone you can distract. The more you distract him, the more he goes higher. The more you think you're bringing him down, the more you are lifting him up. The more you try to hinder him and stop him, the more you make way for him to propel further. Every attack that was projected against Mazi have advertised him to the whole world. Today, he's a name to reckon with. Take it or leave it. Your jealousy might not allow you to agree with me. But I tell you, the name Mazi is a name to reckon with today. And I tell you, wherever our Supreme Amazon Nanekano is, he will be very, very proud of him. Mazi Simon Ekpa have made the job so easy for him. That is why I say I wish that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is outside with us. This is an opportunity that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was looking for all this while. The opportunity that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was looking for all this while. And when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu saw the opportunity, I believe that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu knew whom he saw. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu saw Mazi Simon Ekpa, he knew that this is what he has been looking for all this while. And that is why he never let him go. And he made it open to the whole Biafrans that this very man you are seeing is bringing a new dimension into the struggle. Today, are you going to say you're not seeing that new dimension? Will you say you are not seeing that new dimension that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talked about? And because the saboteurs who surrounded Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, instead of embracing the new dimension, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu pronounced that new dimension, they became so agitated. They began to fight to take him away, to block him, to make sure he doesn't come any close. The same way they have been doing in the past. For a very long time, anybody that wants to bring something meaningful to support Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they will trash the person. Anybody that brings a suggestion, anybody they see that has something to offer, they will stand against the person and make sure that that person doesn't see the light of the day. And I can tell you, many genuine people have come into this struggle and gone away. But because Mazi Simon Ekpa was destined for this very assignment, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu saw him, he recognized him. And he said, this is the man. Listen to him. Share his videos. Pay attention to him. He didn't hide it. He didn't keep it to himself. Because he has been waiting for him. And today, if you tell me that you are not seeing that new dimension, it is either you are jealous, you are blind, or you are not following what is going on. For every Biafran that is following the things that are going on, that is sincere to him or herself, you can see a great difference. You can see a great achievement. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The kind of diplomatic move we are making today, the kind of allies we have already today and we are about to have, we have never had it that way before. And that is what we have been lacking. I can bet you that whenever our case appears in the United Nations today, whenever our case is raised in the United Nations, countries will stand and support Biafra. Countries will stand and support, speak up for Biafra. That is why we are not afraid anymore. We can't be afraid of anybody. It is time for us to go home. Even if they decide to bring war on Biafra, I bet you we have allies who are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with us and make sure that we win. We have been on this path before for 3 good years on our own. When our eternal leader Dim Odumego Juku, declared Biafra, he didn't have much with him. There was no international connections and all that. There was no European country that he's directly connected to. Some few of them that came around began to come after the event. And yet they couldn't make, there was no solid agreement. The few countries in Africa that KE did was later on. But I can tell you, in the present time that we are in, we are laying a very strong foundation, a solid foundation, that when it kicks off again, it can never be like before. And it cannot last. It cannot last long. It will be like a two. And even, we might not even fire a shot, and Biafra will come. That is what I'm saying. So if you are a Biafran, you must have to sit up. All these ones who are being scared, you don't want war, you don't want, quit all those kind of thoughts. If you are looking for your freedom, everything is possible. If you genuinely want to fight for freedom, everything, there is open door for everything. Everything can happen. Don't say you don't want this, you don't want that, you don't want that. In as much as you have your own intention, what your desire is, let the door be open for everybody. Just like I was spoken, Mazi Simon said that. We don't have any enemy anywhere. We don't have any person who is going to direct and say you are their special enemy. And you cannot choose our enemy for us. We are in good terms with all the nations. Any nation can be our enemy. Can be our friend as long as they want to be. As long as you play on the interest and be on the interest of the Biafran people, you are our friend. Nobody can direct us on who to choose as our friend and who not to choose. The Biafrans will choose their own friend. Just as Mandela said that your friends cannot be, your enemies cannot be my enemy. You cannot force me to take your enemies as my enemy. Mandela said that in his own word. And that is the direction we are taking. You can't tell us a nation that will be our friend and those who will be our enemy. Any nation that accepts us and work with us, we work with them. Any nation that accepts Biafra, all we have to check is our interest. As long as our interest is protected, we are going to work with you. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter whom you are. It doesn't matter what the world think about you, what they call you. We don't care. What matters to Biafran people today is that any nation that accepts us, we accept them and we work with them. That is where we are. And I thank Chukwu Okike for the man we have in the aim of affairs today. Biafra is going to come. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter whether you agree or you don't agree. It doesn't matter whether you key in or you don't key in. Biafra is going to come. And it's coming faster than you ever imagine. Faster than you can ever imagine. The only better thing for us to do today is to exit from this very irredeemable nation. The contraption called Nigeria is irredeemable. I say irredeemable. Even if you don't know before, you should know now. A country where professors rig election. A country where professors participate in fraud. A country where pastors participate in fraud and support it. A country where imam support fraud and participate in it. A country where hatred is the order of the day. A country where they never reward good work. They only reward fraudsters. They only reward evil, but they never reward good. How can such nation survive? How can such nation survive? A place where the only thing that qualifies you to earn a post is fraud, how fraudulent you are. It is only how fraudulent you are that determines if you can be able to attain to certain heights or achieve certain things in that contraction. Is that a place you want to be? You saw during the time of election, it was a competition of fraud. Who is more fraudulent than the other? Their so-called president-elect today, so fraudulent to the extent that his own fraud can no longer be mentioned anymore. They are now recording his fraud as an achievement. That is how bad it is. Every fraud that man committed in Lagos State turned Lagos State to his own personal property. They are now today recording that as achievement. A man is supposed to be in jail. As if that is not enough. A fraudster who changed his name to someone else who don't even know his date of birth. Nobody knows his original name. Nobody knows how he made his wealth. A drug baron rose to the stage of president. Are you talking about Atiku Abubakar? Another fraudster who has several cases in different parts of the world, convicted in the United States, just like his Tinubu. Both of them convicted in the United States. Convict. With different kinds of fraud is attached to them, and yet they came out boldly and project themselves that they want to be your president. And people are surrounding them. Professors, doctors, engineers are clapping for them, surrounding them and promoting them. Are you talking about your Peter Obi? Peter Obi that went and saved his own money in Panama. His name appeared in Panama Papers, where he was escaping tax. Because he doesn't want to pay tax, he took his own money to go and keep it outside. That is Peter Obi for you. Money that he should have been invested in Anambra State. Use that money, invest it, keep it in a bank in Anambra State and begin to give loan to people. That money he kept in Panama can do a lot in Anambra State. He didn't do it. If tax invader today is the one they are celebrating as you see, you must have fraud attached to your credentials before you can be able to contest for any post. Is that the nation you want to be part of? Only a fraudster will enjoy such nation. That is why we must get out of it. It is so important to get out of it because they are corrupting our Biafran people. Biafran people are corrupted. They are being corrupted. The Biafran people. When you go all over the world today, when you see crimes and they mention Biafran name, it is the contract economy that is pushing them into crime. The country today is pushing youths into crime in all over the world, teaching them, not just pushing them, they teach them how to be fraudulent. They teach them that the only way to survive is to be fraudulent. And they push them to the world to go and begin to commit all manner of atrocities. Some engage in internet fraudster. Some engage in different kinds of the other. Some engage in drugs. Because where they come from, where they have more than enough to make them whom they are being denied. They have been denied and given a condition. You must know who knows who before you can get admission into the university. You must know who knows who before you can even get the admission into some secondary school. You must know who knows who. Even when you succeed in passing through university to get a job, you must know someone who knows someone before you can be able to get a job. You will be there. People who doesn't know their rest and life will be living large and big, having all the opportunities. Meanwhile, you that came out with first class in your result, we have no job. You turn to a Okada rider. And they left them no option to begin to search for greener pasture elsewhere. And in the process, most of them get into different kinds of crime in order to survive. There is no excuse for one to get into crime. That is true. But we must have to deal with the foundation of those crimes. We must have to talk about the foundation. The foundation of every criminality you see in the life of the youths in Nigeria is the government itself. When the foundation is faulty, what can you do? When the foundation is faulty, there's nothing you can do. That is why we are speaking on a daily basis that that faulty and evil foundation must be crumbled. It must come down. The only alternative for you to have a sane nation where human beings can survive is disintegration. Disintegrate the zoo. Let the Arewas go their way. There is nothing wrong in having an Islamic nation. It is good. There's nothing wrong in it. But you must have to establish it where people accept it. So let the North that have accepted the Islamic nation go their separate ways and establish their Islamic nation. Live there. We can equally visit if we choose to. It doesn't stop us from visiting. We visit. Let the Oduduwa people go their separate ways. Begin to use whatever they want on their own. If they like, they can block their borders or they can put some laws and say that you cannot own property in their land. It is their law. It is their law that you cannot own any property. You cannot buy any land in Oduduwa land. When they get to Oduduwa, let them put those laws in place. It doesn't mean that we cannot visit. We can still visit. We can still intermarry. We can still do business. Meanwhile, we obey all their laws. In Biafra land, whatever law we feel is going to be, we'll place that law and we'll live with it. Visitor can still come and go out, obeying our laws. This is the only way all the people will be protected. Every boundaries and areas will be protected. And security will return to everybody. Peace will return. Growth will return. There will now be a healthy competition among all these nations. And I tell you, if Nigeria break up today, no nation that will break up from Nigeria will be as bad as Nigeria. Never. Nobody seems to be talking about it. In that counter queue, first of all, they took away all the officers from Biafra land. All military officers in Biafra land were murdered in good blood. As if that is not enough. The man that is parading himself today as a statesman, Danjuma murdered the first general in Africa, the first legitimate, registered, and well-trained general in Africa, Agironsi. Danjuma murdered Agironsi and Fajui. Agironsi and Fajui, these are people, the head of state and his friend, Fajui. For no just cause. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody seems to talk about it. Instead, they celebrate those people that conducted that coup. Every one of them that get involved in that coup today, they celebrate them. But these are the people who murdered innocent people. Every officer, every military officer from Biafra land, they were murdered. They were murdered in the barracks, surrounded and murdered. As if that wasn't enough. They even came to the street, in the counter queue, in the street. Innocent Biafrans, their life were wasted. Innocent Biafrans who doesn't have anything with what happened in the barrack. They had nothing to do with it. They are not in governance. They were murdered in the counter queue. But do you know that nobody seemed to be remembering or be talking about the counter queue? Nobody seemed to, they didn't see anything wrong in that counter queue, where innocent people were murdered because of revolution. And can you tell me the genuine reason they have? What reason did they have to murder a head of state? What reason? When it comes to revolution, Chukuma Kaduna Nzogu and all the rest of them participated in that revolution, they had a point. That was a reason they gave. They had a legit point. That the politicians then were corrupt, just as they are today. They were so corrupt that the country was falling into ditch. They preach hatred just the way they have preached again today. Just the same hatred you see they have introduced now. That was what transpired that time. That was what Kaduna Nzogu saw, and he said he cannot be able to stand it. The same way you see them today, planting hatred in the mindset of the whole indigenous people. The same hatred you see them today, pushing in the heart of every indigenous person. Making the indigenous people to hate themselves. Pushing them against one tribe. This same message of hatred was what they were doing during that time. That Chukwu Kaduna Nzogu saw, and he wasn't okay with it. Then he called other his fellow officers. And they came together and they decided that they were going to put a stop to these corrupt politicians and install Awolowo, who is not even a Biafra. Awolowo is somebody they want to go and bring for prison because they believe that Awolowo was jailed unlawfully. Awolowo was genuine, but they jailed him unlawfully. They wanted to bring him out and make him the prime minister. And the same people that truncated that very queue were Biafran people. Biafran people stopped the queue. Still, these people were not satisfied. They went ahead for a counter queue and they murdered Biafran officers. All the officers from Biafran land were murdered. Many officers today, they are not celebrated anywhere. Their name is not mentioned. No compensation. Nothing is written about them. A head of state was murdered for no just cause. Fajuyi was murdered. Two of them, very important, the best trained military Nigeria have ever had. Aguiyi and Fajuyi. The best trained and legitimate, the first general in Africa. Genuine and strong general in Africa. Aguiyi, trained in Britain, was murdered. Up to today, there is no stone raised everywhere on his name. The person that murdered him today is still being celebrated as a statesman. The very person who murdered Aguiyi for no just cause, no reason whatsoever, murdered Fajuyi because Fajuyi was telling him not to kill his visitor. That man is still parading himself everywhere. Celebrating himself. He was being celebrated and even offered an oil well. Every single one of them that participated in that genocide today, they are being celebrated. Every one of them. Babangida was there. The late Muhammad Buhari was there. What do they call him? This idiot was still there. Danjuma. Danjuma was the key actor who murdered the president and his friend. He's been celebrated today and given oil wells. They have been pushing this very presidency within themselves, sharing the country. The country have just become, after they conducted that coup, after that counter coup, every one of them now have taken Nigeria as their personal property. Including Gowon. Go on, who came on to become a president? Who was used? Who signed up for the murder of the Biafran people, Biafran children? Every one of them is still there now today, celebrated. And the most painful one is that the people they murdered in cold blood are not remembered. No stone is raised in their name. Nobody seems to care. They are too quick to remind you of Kaduna and Zowu and the death of Tafa Balewa. But they don't talk about the counter coup that took away responsible and well-trained officers from Biafra land. But they are talking about a terrorist that was taken out by revolution. A hateful terrorist that was taken out by revolution. Tafa Balewa, who was a terrorist, who was planting this hate you are seeing today. The hate that is flying today, he was the one that planted that hate. And that was one of the reasons he was taken out. He is the person they celebrate. Murtala Muhammad, one of the murderers, is the person they celebrate today. But the innocent officers who were murdered are forgotten totally. You dare not talk about it. You dare not mention their name anywhere. They are not mentioned anywhere. You don't even talk about them, let alone laying down a stone on their behalf. And you want us to fold our hand and pretend that all is well. You want us to fold our hand and pretend all is well. This has happened for long time ago, getting to 100 years now. Pursuing 100 years now. And it still continues. It has still continued. The dehumanization of the people from Biafra land, taking their life and property, just taking their life. Anytime they wish, they just smoke your life out. They are still doing it. And when they do it unapologetically. They don't care. Today, they can still wake up one morning and they send plane in Biafra land to go and bomb a place. And they have graduated to the extent that they are now using our own people. They are now using our own people to perpetrate that evil in Biafra land. That is how bad it is. We have a very strong enemy before us. That is why I'm begging every Biafran. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter who you think you support. It doesn't matter the area you think is your specialization. It doesn't matter who you think is sponsoring you. Let us focus on the real enemy. I am begging. The enemy that is up against us is they are unrepentant. The Pharaoh that is against us is unrepentant. He will do everything to take you and I out. Why don't we focus on that enemy? Why don't you focus on that pronounced enemy that we know? Why must we begin to look towards our own self? Why must we continue to look? It doesn't matter what your brother is doing, whether he does it well or does it wrong, he does it right. Why don't you focus on that enemy? Even if you feel that you cannot work with your brother, you feel you can't work with this your brother, he is too fast, or he's too smart for your liking, or you cannot be able to catch up with his own wisdom. Do you have to fight him? Do you have to fight him? Do you have to fight him? Every one of us have to be focused. Let us focus on the real enemy. Let us challenge the real enemy. Let us challenge the real enemy that you and I know. That enemy that doesn't want us alive. Why don't we focus on challenging that enemy? Let us channel our energy to that enemy. Let us stop all this bickering. The enemy that we are up against is pronounced. It is not something that say you don't know. We know the enemy we are up against. And the most painful thing that every platform you see, they will come out and tell you, I love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is my leader. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is my leader. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is your leader, but you will learn nothing from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If you learn from Mazi Nnamdi, you can see that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does not channel his energy to any Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't declare war against any Biafra. He doesn't waste his time. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's main focus is the target of getting freedom. We have seen in different occasions, even when his own brothers rise up against him, he speaks about them once, twice, and that is it. Sometimes he will never ever talk about the person anymore. He won't mention it. He will move ahead. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't channel it, including the man in the creek. When the man in the creek was busy abusing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, calling him name, he kept quiet as if it doesn't exist. It was only once and once that he responded to him. Only once he responded to him. After that response, he moved on. You that call yourself the follower of Mazi Nnamdi, why don't you learn? You will feel that Mazi Simon Ekpa is not doing it well. He doesn't know what he's doing. He is deceiving people. Why don't you now begin to create your own idea to correct people? Since you feel create your own idea, convince people, win souls, and now pursue Biafra and get it. Convince people to follow you, not by causing Mazi Simon Ekpa, calling him name and distracting him, and you end up doing nothing. And I want to tell everybody that is watching here, do you really think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is in the hand of the enemy today, is not getting the information of what is happening outside? I want you to ask yourself sincerely, do you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not getting information of everything that is happening outside? Do you think that the lawyers are not telling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu what Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing? In your own common sense, think. I want you to pause for a minute. Just pause for a minute. Think within your own sense. Do you really think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not being told what Mazi Simon Ekpa has been doing outside? You think he's not getting the feedback? And if you now know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gets information of everything that Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing, because Mazi Simon Ekpa remains the only name that is ringing bell in the zoo today. That is the name that is ringing bell in their media, in their brokers, in Asorok, everywhere. In their security, Mazi Simon Ekpa is the name ringing bell, including their diplomatic moves. Do you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not seeing or hearing all that? If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is hearing all that, do you think if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu feels that what Mazi Simon Ekpa is not doing right, that what Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing is not right, or that Mazi Simon Ekpa is endangering his life, do you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will keep silent? He will not direct his attorney, he will not direct his lawyers to send out a memo and tell Mazi Simon Ekpa, hey, stop there, enough is enough. If you believe that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gets information, we have seen several times that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have ordered his lawyers to give information outside. Even when the Karo White lawyer was there. When Karo White was there, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was giving him instructions on what to do. And even at that time, do you think that Karo White was not feeding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with everything that Mazi Simon was doing? But did you ever see one day, did you ever hear one day that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, Mazi Simon Ekpa, stop what you are doing. Stop broadcasting. Stop talking to Biafrans. You are not my disciple. You are not speaking for me. You are endangering my life. Have you ever had such kind of memo from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu since his kidnapped? This is one important question that every one of us must start with thinking. When they come to deceive you, they come to tell you this, they were with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for donkey years. Oh, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made them this and made this. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave them this post and those posts. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu swear oath with them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Do you think that if Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing something that is wrong, you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be silent? He will not issue a memo. But the memos that we have seen, The first one we saw was a congratulation for Mazi Simon Ekpa. The first one came. The information said we should continue to do whatever we are doing. The situation is tough for me, but for you, stand your ground and continue to hold your ground. That message was directly to Mazi Simon Ekpa because he was the only person making wave and holding ground that time. The second memo came. It says, do not interrupt in anything that Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing. Let him be free to do what he wants to do. Whatever you are doing on your own part, go ahead and do it. But for Mazi Simon Ekpa, whatever he does, don't interrupt. That order was given. And you thought it was a joke. It wasn't enough. And I ask you again, do you really think that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can issue a memo there, he gets information of everything? If he finds out, if he hears what Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing, if it is not something that's going to help Biafra and help him in the situation, do you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be silent and he will not issue an order? Go back home and answer that question within yourself, in your heart. If you answer that question correctly, then you wake up from your sleep and you continue to follow the right person you are supposed to follow. You continue to follow Mazi Simon Ekpa and pray for him every blessed day for protection, for wisdom, for growth, for progress. That is what you're supposed to do. Go back home within your own self. Think about this very statement. Think deeply about it. A very strong question you must ask. Forget about grudges. Forget about argument. Put every support you have, whether you support the Department of Saboteur or you support Mazi Simon Ekpa, so no matter who you support, keep your mind plain and ask yourself this question. Does it mean that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, after hearing everything that Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing outside, he's not pleased? Won't it be right that he will give an order and tell him to stop? Wouldn't it be right that he will detach himself from Mazi Simon Ekpa? Doesn't he have that right? Doesn't he have that opportunity to speak? You and I know that he has opportunity to speak because he has spoken several times. He has spoken several times through his lawyers. We have seen different memos coming. And for those who will say, oh, he's not the one issuing the memo. He's not the one. But there are memos that he issued that you accepted. That very one you issued, he said, do you think that in that same manner he issued that memo that you accepted? Do you think that if he sees that Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing the right thing, do you think that he will not go ahead and issue order?